Hey there, welcome to Healing Through Your Story. I am your hostess, Leslie Karen Hammond, known as the Empowering Story Whisperer. So this week is going to be really short and sweet, and I'm running a couple of minutes behind here, but you know, c'est la vie, life just kind of happens. So the topic this week is how to tell if your environment is killing your vibe. And why is this so important? Why should you care? Well, for many of you who have seen things before, you know I'm all about energy, and for those of you who are new and just catching this for the first time, I'm all about the vibration that we put out, what our thoughts convey, our body language, what all of that says, all of the ways that we communicate without ever using words. And there's, and I'll just share this quick little story. Excuse me, if you've ever been minding your own business and somebody walks into a room that has a chip on their shoulder, chances are you're going to feel it pretty quickly. So that's one way. If all of this vibration thing is kind of new to you, that is a really good example for knowing how someone's energy impacts you. Now, your environment, there's many different ways that an environment cannot be conducive to supporting you. One is if you have a lot of clutter all around you. And here's why that is. Sometimes people feel if there's stuff like all over the place, it makes a place feel like really homey and comfortable. But here's the thing. If you're sitting down to focus on something and there is disorganization around you, then all it takes is your attention to drift to one way or another for just a slight moment, and then when your vision catches something that's off here to the side, then it's really easy for the mind to get distracted, because you might think, oh, I forgot to do that, because a memory gets triggered. Or it may be, gee, I really meant to get this space over here organized, or who knows what else it could trigger. So it's really important that whatever environment you're in, particularly if it's a place of work for you, like if you have a home office, have it nice and clear. And if you happen to be someone who writes, or if you blog, I'm willing to bet that you are much less productive at a desk that is cluttered. So having an area be nice and organized is so much more conducive. Now, there are certain forms of art where creativity is induced by chaos, and there are some people who absolutely thrive in that environment. And if that's you, well, then you are probably the exception. You need to do what works for you. But overall, in terms of the topic for this week and how your environment impacts your vibe, take a look at it and maybe just do a little test and see the difference between how well you can function or get creative or think about a problem in an organized, tidy environment versus one that is kind of chaotic and a little bit cluttered. So kind of check that out. And another kind of environment that, and we're going to refer to the home again, is the energy of the people in your home. Do you feel supported? Do you feel loved? Do you feel valued? Do you feel heard? If any of those questions, the answer was no, then you may want to consider having a conversation. Because if you're not feeling loved, valued, and supported, then any endeavor that you begin will be challenged because of that lack of support. And it could be something as simple as a partner or a spouse doesn't know how to support you. They don't know what you want. I mean, this sister right here is guilty of assuming that someone, or that my husband understands what I want. I mean, he knows how I am. He should know this stuff. Or that he can read my mind and he knows what I'm thinking. And boy, let me tell you, that does not go over well when I make that assumption and he's not on the same page. So sometimes a conversation is required so that both parties know what the other one needs. And in many cases, that can clear the stuff up. And then you can openly support each other. Every once in a while, I'll just outright ask my husband, you know, what can I do to support you? Or if there's something that I'm doing that he's not, and I'm having a hard time accepting it, then I can always say, and I've done this a few times before, I'm having a hard time with this, and because of this, I don't know how to support you. And it opens the door for conversation, and then we move forward and we can clear up some misunderstandings. Now, the third environment that is so important to pay attention to is the internal environment and what's going on. Hey, Lori, thanks for joining. This one's going to be real short and sweet, so don't go anywhere because we only got a few more minutes left. So, lots of love and light to you. So the third kind of environment that's really important to pay attention to is the internal environment. And that is in a few different places. So we'll just hit the big three for now. So it's the thoughts, what you're thinking, and how that impacts your entire body. So what's going on up here? The inner critic, how she is treating you and how you react. Whether or not you're letting her take the wheel of the car, or whether or not you are insisting that she ride in the back seat. You can't get rid of her, so you might as well say, okay, I get you're coming along for the ride, but you're in the back and you're not calling the shots. The second way that your internal environment impacts you is the heart. If your heart has been broken and you haven't worked through that yet, and there's still this feeling of loss or unworthiness or sadness, then that's going to dictate to a large degree what happens in your internal environment. So it's so important, if there are matters of the heart that need addressing, to speak to someone, to go see a healer. I mean, I help people with matters of the heart all the time, but as long as that is left unattended and unaddressed, then it will continue to wreak havoc in that internal environment. I've known women who have had such loss and heartache, I mean, broken hearts, to the point that it manifested in the physical, and they had breast cancer. You don't want to give space for any kind of physical manifestation. So matters of the heart, so important. Please be mindful of them. And then third, the solar plexus and sources of power. So one of the most significant sources of power is our food and what we eat. So it is so important that you be really mindful about what you put in your body. The purest, cleanest, simplest foods possible will not only feed your body, but it will nurture your spirit and your soul. So I gotta run. I am so sorry that this is really brief this week, but I invite you to check out the free gift, which is how to create peaceful boundaries, or healthy boundaries for peaceful living. How to create healthy boundaries for peaceful living. So if you go to LeslieKarenHammond.com/19 download, you'll find that awesome worksheet there, and you can explore what it's like and how you go about creating healthy boundaries, because it's really easy to get all gung-ho and say, okay, I'm doing this, and then you get, now what? Or then you get pushback from people who don't quite get what your new plan is. So lots of love and light to you. I'm so glad that you could join me. And please, please, please like this page, share this video, share the love with other people that you believe will benefit. And I will see you next week. So lots of love and light. Bye for now.